All right, guys, we are live. I think we're going to have a big show tonight. Lots going on. LSU football. Of course, they reported today some health news on one of LSU's coaches, and we're going to talk about Jimmy Lindsay. And I think probably the bigger news today is the Duncanville duo, Caden Durham, Colin Simmons, going to announce on August 10th. And a lot of excitement around that one, and there's going to be some meltdown in Austin, I can tell you that. Buddy Songy in here with me, Mike Scarborough. Let's talk about it, buddy. What's up?
Publisher of TigerBait.com. Mike and I have been doing this a long time, and, it has been a hell of a run for all of us as we have kind of talked about Pride Roofing sponsoring this show, and Brian Kelly bringing back the Pride, and Kim Mulkey and Natty, and Jay Johnson and Natty. And we keep talking about good things on the eve of practice again. Everybody knows the incredibly crazy temps, 7 days plus with 100 or more out there at 9:45. Stay hydrated, media guys. I'm thinking they may go inside to start and outside afterwards. Great thing we have tomorrow, 15 minutes with cameras, photos. Then we get to watch the rest of the practice, can take notes, but no filming. So, and then later on, I looked at the roster. Mike was going crazy about the access. We're going to see another scrimmage in Tiger Stadium on August 19th. This is like you said, same access as last year. It lets us do our job a little bit better. And asking questions about a scrimmage you didn't see is not that easy. So that, and Mike is really fired up about the Bayou Splash because he actually didn't want to admit it. He won the water balloon fight between the media.
I tell you what, it's you mentioned it. You had the scoop a little while ago. The first 8 periods tomorrow being indoors, and then they'll go outside. But again, they are practicing in the morning. And just like we thought, it was an anomaly because of spring that we didn't have, full practices because they didn't have a full roster and they couldn't do a lot of stuff. But all of our access is identical to first year and first spring and first fall. And we've got a lot coming your way on TigerBait. We're going to have practice reports, photo galleries, video, lots coming your way on TigerBait. If you're not a subscriber, you're going to want to go and subscribe. Try us out for $1, TigerBait.com. I think I've sent out 5 newsletters in the last 8 days. We've been hitting those of you that are registered with the newsletters. That's free. All you got to do is register. You can do that on TigerBait. But go check us out for $1. And again, as always, if you're enjoying the show tonight, please hit that like button. Very much appreciative. Of course, we're brought to you by our title sponsor, Pride Roofing. And we'll talk about Mike and Alex a little bit later in the show, as well as a couple of our other fine sponsors. But Jimmy Lindsay, I think, say your prayers, LSU fans, but you think it's something minor. I think it is too. I mean, he's a younger guy. I think it's probably something that they can rectify. And look, you got to be careful in this heat. I mean, you take every precaution you can. They'll do just fine, but it makes you think back. Boy, they've had a run of these. I mean, you go back to Craig Thorpe and Meatball. I mean, the LSU's had their share of this, haven't they, in early August?
Yeah, Michael Cobble of Channel 2 tweeted out, of course, yesterday they had the EMS come pick up Coach Lindsay. Once again, I hope all you Tiger fans put him and his family in your prayers. And you don't know the severity, and we certainly are not going to try and hint at what it is. But I think the fact that he got it in the hospital, he'll have an opportunity. They'll assess that situation. Brian Kelly did intimate they expect him to be back. John Jancic now moves in to coach the D-line. Bob Diaco, both these guys, Jansen, Diaco, very familiar with Brian Kelly through his career. Bob Diaco also very good at special teams, so he will coach outside linebackers now. So seamless transition.
That's one of the benefits of these staffs getting so big and all these analysts in the building.
Yeah.
You've typically got some very salty coaches that are just walking the hallways that you can elevate when something like this happens.
And that's why you lose a lot of these analysts to other schools that give them a full-time coaching gig. So hang in there, put your prayers in there. And Mike is as fired up as I have seen to do a show in a long, long time. So I guess the Bayou Splash was truly a splash, huh, Mike?
Absolutely. It was fantastic. And Kenny Haynes is right off the bat with a super chat. He says, shout out to Mike. 5 years with the new site, proud founding member. Yes, Kenny's Tiger Sharks been with us since day one when we relaunched TigerBait in 2018. 5 years on the first, and our TigerBait community continues to thrive and grow. And thanks to all of you who are a premium member of TigerBait, and Kenny is certainly that. And let me scroll up as well. Bart Smokey Investment Team is in the chat, and of course, Smokey Investment Team will be sponsoring our practice reports. Hey guys, it's not going to be hot tomorrow morning. Well, we'll be indoors, but it's going to be hot. We're going to get some hot in the coming days, no matter what. But I went out to meet Buddy this evening. It was beautiful outside. So that heavy rain that put down a bunch of trees all over Baton Rouge this afternoon, it was coming in sideways, made it so it was a nice, comfortable evening outside. That's the longest I've been able to stand outside for a long time.
But the NFL is doing this, and I think Brian Kelly's going to do this. It's so hot, you can't stay out there for an extended time. I'm seeing some of these NFL camps go outside for an hour, go inside for an hour. That's what I think Brian Kelly will probably do as you get acclimated. But look, we know from the footage and film that second-year strength and conditioning coach has done a fantastic job. Oh, by the way, Ironman last year, Makai Wingo. Ironman this year, Omar Spates. Boy, you talk about the transfer portal and how good it's been to LSU. Once again, we'll talk about it. We'll see Aaron Anderson for the first time, Jordan Jefferson for the first time, Deuce Chestnut, Mason Lunford. All those guys, we'll see them tomorrow. Mike will have the video. We'll have the reports. A good time to be a Tiger fan, but be patient because you can't assess this football team in one day. But they're going to be smart with the heat, Mike.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Let me scroll up and get to some of the ones we haven't. Big group in here already tonight. Big thanks to all you guys tuning in. Please share on your Facebook, your Twitter. Text it out to your buddies. Let all your fellow LSU fans know that about TigerBait and our live show. Roger Ramjet, yes, finally, football finally, go Tigers. James Moore, let me scroll up. Hey, Buddy and Mike, with the success of the Lady Tigers basketball team off the court, do you think Mulkey will have to reel them in with all the publicity in the #1 recruiting class as well?
I'm sorry, I missed the gist of the question.
Well, I think the gist of it is whatever.
Man, what?
There ain't gonna be no issues. Unfortunately.
Okay. I see what he's saying. He's talking about chemistry, right?
Well, yeah.
You only have one basketball. Look, Angel Reese is not going to average the stats that she had last year. Kim Mulkey's going to tell her that. But you know what? I just saw this a couple days ago. Her net worth is $3 million now. Okay? Net worth. Like that. You see that team. Kim Mulkey knows how to coach. You got Michaela Williams. You got Haley Van Lith. You got all these young new players coming in here. They will have chemistry, but the gaudy stats may not be there on an individual basis.
Tomorrow morning at 10:30, Governor Edwards is going to sign a bill for National Women's Basketball National Championship license plates. And because that's at 10:30, that's like 15 minutes before we get Brian Kelly. So I'm not going to be able to cover that, but LSU will obviously send out some info on that, and we'll have it for you. But it just never stops. I mean, Mulkey is just it's always something, and see how she's able to keep herself in the news. Football's here going crazy, and the third comment is about Kim Mulkey, and tomorrow she's going to be in the news again. That is a part of someone with a lot of experience, that she knows how to keep her name in the news cycle, even in the off season.
And she would be disappointed if you don't have one of those license plates on your vehicle.
See this new candle?
Yeah.
I got one for Mulkey too.
Okay.
We'll be rolling that out during basketball season. Pick those up this weekend. Texas Tiger with the super chat. Big thank you, Texas Tiger. Another one of our great TigerBait premium subscribers, a member of our community. Go, Mike. We go back many years. Congratulations on a 5-year anniversary on the news site. Big thank you to you for that. And yeah, it's I think it's 27 years now, or 26 years altogether, but big time. Another super chat. Scooby 70611 with a $20 super chat. Big thank you for that. No comment. But if you leave one, if you got a question, I'll look for it and get you in. Big thank you for that. Much appreciative. Bart Smokey again. Buddy was talking about someone at the TAF. They are in the process of moving bullpens to behind the outfield fences.
And you mentioned Kim Mulkey staying in the news. Jay Johnson stays in the news.
Yeah, he
Once
does.
again, 6 great players from the transfer portal, including an Alabama reliever, an Alabama starter, a lefty from Xavier, and another big-time player and pitcher, Gage Jump. I don't remember ever. We know Russell Gage. He was a 2-star, finally 3-star, got a scholarship offer at the last minute to LSU. He's been playing in the pros, 7, 8 years. But Gage Jump, you ever heard of a first name Gage before?
It's a good name.
And look, Jay Johnson jumped all the way to California to get him. Second UCLA pitcher coming in. He was out last year because of Tommy John, another lefty. They are loaded with lefties. He's going to be loaded once again. And I know Kenny and Smokey and everybody else extremely proud of not only the Natties, but the way these players and coaches handle themselves, Mike.
Absolutely. Roger English, will losing Lindsay hurt chances with Simmons? I know that Sherman Wilson, one of the LSU specialists in the building, player personnel, recruiting office, tweeted out something. And I think the way it was read was made it look like maybe that Texas was maybe trying to use that to negatively recruit. And I don't know if that's what they're doing. If they are, shame on them. But look, those two kids, it was one of these deals. I was on Buddy's show earlier today, and someone asked, and I said, man, I'll have a hard time believing that Simmons is going to announce before Labor Day. An hour later, he puts out he's doing it on the 10th next Thursday. And then Caden Durham comes right up behind him saying he's going to do it on the 10th. They spent multiple days in Baton Rouge, had a blast at the Splash. You've got all the players that are currently committed, hot boxing them or however you want to say it, come on in and I will say this. I think, there was times over the years where LSU would be battling Alabama for a recruit and he'd go over there and he'd seal the deal and it was over with. I think Brian Kelly's ability to seal the deal and close in his office with parents and how polished he is, the way he talks, the way he speaks, and he talks about the future of that player and him as a person and getting his degree in college. And when he starts talking in front of those parents, I think that elevates LSU above a lot of other schools. I think he's in that rarefied air with the ability to close. That's Brian Kelly.
And the latest hot tweet, Colin Baton Rouge, Collin, to Collins if Simmons makes it the final in December. Of course, verbal commitments. Look, you get excited, but once again, let's bring this to the conversation just to be fair and objective. You're still going to have to wait until mid-December before the thing is signed. But need positions, I think they love it. I talked about this. Man, Colin Simmons, I'm seeing him, Joe Burrow, Angel Reese, everybody, then the Splash, Caden Durham. You talked about it. They got very excited. Their parents certainly want them to say, hold on, let's not jump into the deep end of the splashy pool. But these guys right now, I think they feel like this is a perfect fit. And LSU's got a lot to sell right now, Mike. NIL is what Texas is selling. They don't know what Sark's going to do. They don't know what that team's going to do. But they know that they can pay more than anybody. And that is not always the most important thing.
I had a little back and forth with a great Texas source, Longhorn media guy that I go back many, many years with. And he said the thought was over there that they had the better NIL deal. And my LSU source says that it's not all about NIL.
We talked about it last week, Mike. You can pay me now or you can pay me 3 years later.
And that's where BK is the master.
And BJ Ojolari, by the way, was also in a tweet with Colin Simmons. And so, look, an edge rusher in today's game lets your defensive coordinator do so many things. And how exciting is it going to be to see Harold Perkins once again in that role of inside, but from time to time, they're going to send pressure with him.
So a lot of LSU fans in the last couple of weeks, another 3-star. Another 3-star. This class isn't going to be anything, blah, blah, blah. Well, the fact is, Louisiana is not top heavy this year. You don't have all the national 100 guys, a handful or more. You've got one on the outside. I think McBride at Denham belongs. I think he's in the middle of the National 100, regardless of what network. I think he's 35 through 50, no less than 60. I would have him. I think he's that good. I think Colin Hurley getting dinged a little bit and having some of the drops that I've seen on 2 networks, that makes no sense when he finishes in the middle of the pack in the Elite 11 and is intelligent and as good of an arm as he has. And he's competed at the Elite 11 with kids that are 2 years older than him. He'll still be 17 years old in his second semester at LSU, where a lot of the kids that he competed with, some will be hitting 20 because a lot of quarterbacks get held back by their dads. Seen it all the time. Ty Simpson.
Sure.
That kid was 2 years older than everybody else. So, yeah. But anyways, I think there's some guys in LSU's current class that are going to get better rankings over time. I think that, a lot of the 3-stars are right there at that 1 point away from being a 4-star. I think some of those guys are going to get their due. But going back to why I'm saying this, because it's not top heavy in Louisiana, if you go to Texas and you get Simmons and Durham, and then there's Blake Ivy out there, who I think LSU's in the driver's seat for, another offensive lineman, what a haul that Brad Davis has coming. And then you got Dominic McKinley over to Acadiana, a 5-star. Your class is exactly where it needs to be in the end. And don't forget, you're not bound by 25. Do they get to 28, 29? I think this class is going to be the first one of the 3 under BK where he's not, having to go out and get almost double-digit transfer portal kids. He's going to fill up high school. But we're going to see how that goes. We talked about on your show today. There's some guys that could be draft eligible that could have breakout season, and all of a sudden you have a little bit more attrition than you think you're going to have.
Wardell Mack, of course, did not show to the splash. He did invariably go to Florida. Have you heard much update after the weekend? And where would you say? Would you say there's still a lot of time, or you say right now he's a long shot?
There's time, but that's definitely Texas and LSU, and I tend to think Texas is the leader for him, but like I said, I kind of think he's like Jamar Chase. You let it play out.
Yeah, sure.
He's one of those kids that can go the opposite way. The more pressure you put on him, and you just keep working him, and you see what happens. But LSU does have a stack of corners already.
They've got 4 corners. It could be impacting his decision. Brian Kelly has made it known to everybody, the best in the state of Louisiana. Stay in state. Reminds me a lot of Saban in 01 when he brought in Marcus Spears, Michael Clayton, Andrew Whitworth, Rudy Nicewinger, Kyle Williams, all those guys, Marquise Hill. That's what you do, folks. You get this fence around this state, and right there, Mike, on a good year in Louisiana, you can get 18 to 19 in-state players.
22 right now, waiting for the shoe to drop on Xavier Atkins. What's he waiting on as far as a decommit? So that could be 21, and then next week could be up to 23. And could there be someone else that's that could pop? A lot of guys a lot of guys want to get it done before their senior year starts. Get it out of the way.
By the way, that 18 in the state is not this year. I'm just talking about a great year like you had in 2001. And that was key for Nick Saban. I remember I saw him at a golf tournament at U Club, and he was tight-lipped about it because nobody knew each other. But, man, to get Clayton and Spears and Marquise Hill and all those guys in the state, that was a hell of a class.
Yeah, it was.
And most of it state-led.
Jawan Hearns, with Lindsay being gone, we can kiss McKinley goodbye, and Colin Simmons might not come either. No, yeah, it's doom and gloom. That's not true. And Lindsay isn't gone. I look for him to be back. Let me scroll up, guys. Bear with me. Arthur Coleman, Frank Wilson is recruiting Durham and Simmons. Frank isn't going to let this be a distraction. I agree with you.
And by the way, I forgot if it was one of your guys or Preston, whoever, but there was an article about Brian Kelly being heavily involved personally with Dominic McKinley and his brother and those recruits. Of course, his brother got offered this past weekend too. Coach Kelly, for a guy that everybody told us in South Bend, oh, he don't like to recruit and he's getting a little old in the tooth. And how about the rejuvenation of Brian Kelly and the way he lives life now? To me, it's night and day, and I think this is a hell of a lot more fun than that cloudy-ass South Bend where I used to go once a month to see a friend, and it was always cloudy. I know they got touchdown Jesus, but he's having the time of his life, Mike, and I think he's been rejuvenated, not only on the field, but in recruiting.
I'm getting a kick out of people saying, well, the reason why, Kelly was notorious for not liking to recruit. Recruiting to LSU and the way you recruit to LSU is much different than what he had to do at Notre Dame.
No doubt.
He had to get on a plane and go to California. He had to go everywhere. He just couldn't go within a 200-mile radius. He has everybody come to him, and he's having great parties while he's doing it. I think he's absolutely loving the recruiting right now. All right, guys, I want to talk about one of our new sponsors, absolutely, Drip IV. Let me tell you something. LSU fans, beat the heat. Get over to Drip IV for all your hydration needs. The heat has been killer this summer, and the dehydration is real. They will guide you to the perfect IV drip that fits your needs. These IVs are also great for anyone feeling under the weather or in need of an energy boost. They are loaded with vitamin C and other great vitamins, amino acids, electrolytes, designed to get you back feeling your best in a hurry. Whether it's a hangover, a cold, or preparing for vacation, they have what you need. Located to Tsushiyama and Iverstein's and Perkins Crossing on the corner of Perkins and Essen, a super convenient spot and always welcome walk-ins. For our Lafayette Tiger fans, head to your local Drip in Cordoba off of Ambassador Caffrey, First Medical Office Building on the right. Drop in, check them out, and mention hearing them on our show, both locations, and get $10 off your first IV drip. For appointments, you can book online or call the location closest to you. Drip IV on Perkins. Buddy and I are probably going to go over there and get hydrated. And Brittany and the staff over there are absolutely fantastic. And I think a lot of people could use an IV right now. Go see Drip IV.
And look, I travel in that neck of the woods, and I can tell you there's a lot of times you're going to have some stagger, and I got caught in it. I had a little road rage this afternoon because, as you know, folks, with the rain and the crazy temperatures and all that, lights are flickering, going out, and people losing their lights. But, man, there's always a bottleneck there. Get over there by Sushi Masa and check it out.
Yeah.
Convenient, and once again, make sure you tell them that.
Beautiful location. As you saw on the graphic, great chairs to sit in. They got a nurse who's going to hook you up, and you got a bad hangover, that's the place you want to go as well. They've got a bunch of different packages with different nutrients and stuff, and they're the best in Baton Rouge and Lafayette.
Hope they don't see me tomorrow anytime soon after practice.
Yeah, I think we're going to be fine. All right, guys, let me scroll down and get to some more of these comments. Steve Trey 193, what's up, Mike and Buddy? Go Tigers. Hashtag get well soon, Coach Lindsay. Raymond asks, is LSU baseball done in the portal?
Supposedly, yes.
I think
they're done.
Yeah.
In fact, he's got a little bit of a problem because they're going to have to move out a couple of players. I think they're a little over the 40-man roster, but I think that Jay Johnson is going to have people fired up again going into next year.
James Wade, Duncanville Pipeline established 8/10/2023 with a little tiger head. It's the talk, man. I browsed a couple of A&M message boards because they were hoping to get one or both those guys over for their little event after LSU's, and they didn't show. And the consensus has been, whether it's been with A&M recruiting guys or Longhorn recruiting guys, is that Simmons would absolutely be a Longhorn, and that Durham, while LSU would fight a good fight, would end up at Oklahoma. And you got multiple fan bases are going to be sick next Thursday based on what we know right now.
And let's throw in the trifecta. They also have a 5-star wide receiver in 2025.
Right.
That class. And he's already tweeted out how excited he was. So this could be a three-way.
And they're still not over Harold Perkins. So much for that BK can't recruit nonsense, huh?
Well, no, my point is that I just see a changed coach. Now, we have all kidded with him a couple things. That first spring he came in here, he told all of us in the media, feels like San Diego in here. I think it was about 65 degrees on the spring practice. And Mike and I both going like, yeah, wait till you get some real Louisiana weather. Did you ever remember as we get ready to go into camp it being this hot, 7 consecutive days of 100 or more? And how do you think they're going to be cautious, but yet get that football team ready to play Florida State 1 calendar month away tomorrow?
Yeah, it's I think the other day I took like 4 showers. I mean, just because I was doing a bunch of stuff and going outside, and man, people are burning up some water. American, and that rain today was absolutely good. American Patriot with a super chat. Thank you. Great show, Mike and Buddy. I'm ready for some practice updates. 1 month away from game day, hopefully injury free. And you nailed it, American Patriot. I've been sitting here 11-1. Buddy hasn't given his prediction yet. I'm at 11-1 right now. I reserve the right to change it, and that the only way it'll change is if they don't stay injury free.
Yeah, I think Jade Daniels, you want to keep him healthy, and Will Campbell and all the Harold Perkins and all your stars. But I got to tell you, man, you look at these early spreads that people are throwing out there right now, and if LSU continues to be the favorite against Florida State, which I think they will, even if it's only 1 or 1.5 or 2, they could be favored in every game but the Alabama game this year. Now, a lot of that is contingent upon what they do in the first half of the season. You lose to an Arkansas or an Ole Miss, obviously you're not going to be favored in every game. But these expectations are not going to diminish once we start getting into camp. People are going to be talking 11-1 and 12-0 in a couple of weeks. Just hold on. Let's see. Got to beat Florida State. I think people have blood and revenge on their mind with that game.
At the same time, like last season, you don't want to lose it, but that was not the end of the world when they did last year. What was bad was the way they, A&M and ran into a buzzsaw, and then, nobody was beating Georgia in Atlanta. But you beat Florida State, and you look at the schedule and you stay healthy, and if this LSU team is what they think they are, you should win every game until you go to Alabama, and I'm picking LSU to win that one right now.
All right.
But I reserve the right to change my mind.
Yes.
Okay. Devin Johnson says Alabama loses week 2 versus Texas.
What a great game. Texas probably would have beaten Alabama last year if their quarterback, Quinn Ewers, didn't get hurt. He's back, and Sark is talking him up. They are picked to win the Big 12. In case you hadn't heard, last week we talked about Colorado. It happened, Mike, right after we mentioned it on the show last week. Now overtures that Washington and Oregon could be 2 more teams on the left coast coming into the Big 10. That would give them, obviously, 4 schools from the West, USC, UCLA starting in 2024. How cool is this, speaking of 2024? USC in Vegas, UCLA in Baton Rouge, Oklahoma in Baton Rouge. Man, it's going to be a lot of fun next year as well.
Let me grab this one real quick. Scooby, who gave us a super chat, follows up with a question. He says he's anxious to hear the recruiting updates as well as from the past weekend event. Well, we had a bunch of them on TigerBait, but I'm going to go down the list here and see if I can give you some tidbits as I go down the line, because we reached out to a lot of them. In fact, I still got like 4 or 5 updates that I haven't even posted yet on some of the kids that we got early in the week. Look, all the commitments had fantastic visits. We had 2 Colin Hurley updates. He had a fantastic time, and he's out there recruiting everybody. Let's see. Obviously, we know what's happening with Caden Durham and Simmons. Dominic McKinley, his younger brother, getting offered. That was huge. And believe me, the timing of that and the way that they decided that this is when they wanted to do it, that was by design. I think that was a really good move by Brian Kelly and the staff. I think that that obviously was a big feather in their cap. I filmed both the McKinley brothers last spring practice at Acadiana. I think LSU has turned the corner with Dominic in the recruiting process. I know there's been some scuttlebutt at times that maybe they were behind, but I think that things are where they need to be right now, and I think even better after last weekend. And I just go down the line. I think the only guy I hadn't talked to is well, no, because Babineau didn't go. But the one guy I'd love to talk to is Bryce Underwood, but he didn't do interviews. But what does that tell you that the 5-star quarterback, number one player in the country for 25, is back on campus after being there in June? The heat doesn't bother him, does it?
Well, and look, George McIntyre, the kid from where Pete is in Nashville, 6'5", Pete told me 6'5", 6'6", about 190. He is fantastic too. And isn't it amazing the way Joe Sloan is juggling all these guys? I asked you on the show today, does Colin Hurley and his recruitment, he's been solid. He's a verbal. He's going to sign in December. Does he get affected if Bryce Underwood commits? And it's amazing the way Coach Kelly, who's involved with teaching the quarterbacks, and Joe Sloan, we got to give a shout out to Joe Sloan. He's been doing an incredible job. And Pete told me he's worked this McIntyre beautifully. So he's saying all the right
Let me tell you
things.
something. Okay. Nothing's going to happen with Hurley. If he gets Underwood, or if it's not Underwood, it's McIntyre, can you name in history where LSU has had those types of signees back to back?
It's tough.
I don't think it's ever happened.
Well, and you and I both agree, Hurley's going to be higher rated than he is right now. And look, you just got two big uglies in Ori Williams and Big Hoss Cryer. Who cares if they're three stars? You see those men? They're pile drivers. They're road graders. They play with a nasty attitude. Forget the star ranking. Look at Justin Jefferson. Look at Jacob Hester. Look at all these kids that have, and that's motivation when you get.
But I'm talking about when you go back.
No, I don't ever remember that. You know, you had Flynn and Jamarcus in the same year.
But Flynn was a back in 300.
No, yeah, right. No, you've never had.
I mean, he was a 4-star,
mm-hmm.
but maybe he might have been in the Rivals 250. And I have to go back and look. I don't think he was. He might have been.
Well, Russell Shepard was highly ranked, but he never played quarterback, so he's not in the mix.
But it's also going nationally to get these guys. You're going to Jacksonville, Florida. LSU's had no real presence there. And then you're talking about Michigan, a guy that Ohio State and Michigan want. That would be crazy.
Oh, by the way, my inside college guy said that the reason Harbaugh is going to be suspended for 4 games to start the season lied to the NCAA about recruiting. Hey, look, I'm not going to take a personal shot about Jim Harbaugh. None of us know him personally. But, man, when you talk about that weirdo versus coming over here in the Bayou Splash, Bryce Underwood's got to be thinking, boy, you know, I'm not shoveling snow. Now it's hot as hell, but I don't know, man. Harbaugh flirted with a pro job last year again, and he's just got a lot of baggage. You got to like the way Joe Sloan is bringing in these guys and working all of them just all the way 100%. Congratulations, Coach. You're doing a hell of a job.
There's something that one of my best buddies in the business that covers Ohio State told me about a month ago. He said that when he talked to an Ohio State coach, that Ohio State coach told him that LSU was way out front for Bryce Underwood. And, of course, it was – and their NIL deal was out of this world and nobody can touch it. I know that's not true. I think that was basically him saying we're out of it. But he's also did say LSU is the leader.
And he also hates Michigan. I mean, every Ohio State person hates Michigan. So they love to rub each other's nose in.
Absolutely. All right, guys, it's that time of the show. Let's hear from Mike and Alex at Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com.
Hey, it's Michael and Alex again with Pride Roofing. Here we grow again. Did your roof get denied during Hurricane Ida?
The insurance company is playing game with you.
Don't forget, August 29th is your 2-year anniversary to make a claim.
Your neighbor got new roof. Why not you?
Pay your deductible. We're fortified, certified.
We do your roof. You came on the Pride umbrella. Bet on Pride.
855
Pride
16.
All right, Mike and Alex, call them 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about Pride Roofing on TigerBait. They've got some, I mean, every time we turn around, there's some big news coming, but they're still running that special, 20% off shingles. They've got a big back stock of high-end shingles. So with this weather and these flash thunderstorms we've had, if you've had any damage, a lot of roofs, trees down tonight, this afternoon, anything that happened to your roof, call Pride Roofing, 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them TigerBait. And if you say that, they're going to give you free TigerBait Premium, a $99 value for a year.
Big shout out to PFM. His nephew lives in Albany. Guess who he did business with? Pride Roofing. And the reason being is that Paul loved the fact that they got there early. They did the job right. They cleaned up. Boom. None of that crazy stuff. You're not going to see him on TV every 5 minutes. All we ask is that you give them an opportunity, pretty much, Mike, almost through Southeast Louisiana and actually the southeastern part of the country. Went to Mobile, went to Lake Charles to help. They care, community partners. And once again, Baton Rouge office, Vernon, Mike Kirby, all the guys building it up, 275-2041. Anything outside that area. Metal roofs continue to be super hot. They just bought a concrete company, 20% off shingles. They want to do business with you. Give them an opportunity. 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them Mike and Buddy sent you over.
Dwayne D says 376 in the chat. Hit that like button, peeps. These guys do a tremendous job. It's the least we can do. Thanks for the kind words, Dwayne. And absolutely, you hit that like button, and it absolutely does help us with that famous YouTube algorithm. And what that does is it pushes our video out in the recommended feed on the right border area for people who are looking for LSU content. And that's where that really helps us. And we appreciate you guys doing that for us if you're enjoying the show. Craig Lalonde, what's the first position practice y'all going to look at first tomorrow? Man, well, because it's in the indoor facility,
Corner for me.
we don't have to walk very far.
Well, we don't know for sure, but I think that it's probably going to be a combination of inside and outside because of the heat. And when we do go indoors, they put us up in the Raptors. We get a very good view, but I want to see who are going to be your first two deep corners. We know that Greg Brooks and Major Burns are going to be your first two safeties. Who's going to be a slot? I think it's Sage Ryan, Javian Toviano, and Deuce Chestnut. And all these other safeties, Andre Sam, he's the guy that comes in the transfer portal. Is he in the mix? Once again, got some freshman corners. So to me, I'm going to look at the DBs, corners, and secondary because I do think that probably is the biggest weakness starting the camp off.
I can go all over. I want to zigzag. I mean, I want to see what the tight end Pimpton looks like. I want to see Aaron Anderson finally out there moving around. The wide receiver group overall, I mean, that group is off the chain. I want to see Kai Print and Shelton Sampson out there running. Offensive linemen, what I want to see with them, I want to see those knee braces on, and I don't want to see any freak injuries. But got depth there. Defensive line, I want to see it all. And we're going to have it all for you.
By the way, the guy I've been talking about, the blocking tight end, is finally in camp. Number 89, Connor Gilbreth, 6'6", 268. Probably going to see him on short yardage. A big guy, and we know that 4 new tight ends coming in, the 2 freshmen, McGowan and Mac Markway, and then, of course, Pimpton. Man, I can't wait to see Pimpton. They tell me he can wash the right side of his car by getting out of the left side. That's how long his arms are. And
he can wipe the whole roof from one side?
Yeah. Look, and trust me, when you're a tight end, you throw it up. How cool is it going to be watching, folks? Mason Taylor. I said this last week. 255, and he's going to wear a B on his helmet because he's going to be a beast.
Carl Dunn, prayers for Coach Lindsay. Absolutely, everybody. Keep him in your thoughts and prayers. hopefully it's something he just needs, some blood pressure meds and get something under control. They've got the best people on top of it, and they'll get it figured out, and he'll be back soon as can be.
By the way, we'll give Carl Dunn his referee rating later on in the summer.
John Sibley Butler, Austin, Texas, had 48 days of over 100+ temperatures. Man, it's been brutal out there. That's pretty bad in Austin because we've had it pretty bad here. John Sibley Butler with the super chat, big thing. He says, "Thanks again for a wonderful gathering of Tigers. How many defensive linemen were being recruited before Lindsay's health, independent of Simmons?" Man, you got a bunch of them. I mean, we were talking about McKinley and others. But look, that's another part of why you have these staffs. You've got all the guys in the building, and the other thing you need to think about, just because it's a position coach doesn't mean that there's also not another coach or two that are actually recruiting that prospect just as much as him, if not more. You got a lot of guys like Bobby and Sherman in the building who do a lot more of that kind of work than the actual position coaches at times.
And look, LSU's had a lot of transition at D-line, so you're not going to sell a guy on coming in. He's not really done much yet. We wish Coach Lindsay, once again, and his family a great year. We hope that this is going to be a problem that is alleviated and taken care of relatively soon. Look, we all know this, regardless of your age, health, your family, your relationship with God. Those are the kind of important things that we kind of take for granted. But he's not going to come in here and you got, I'm going to lock down this guy because I'm the D-line coach. Frank, Kelly, John Jancic, all those other guys, they've got a bunch of experience. And so I think people are over maybe emphasizing that this momentary, temporary setback could affect recruiting. What you had going on this weekend, Mike, that's not something that you can just table. You read Colin Hurley, the chill, the vibe, everything. I mean, they are doing it right. And I don't know who's pushing all the right buttons, but somebody's doing all the right things right now.
I think BK is going to, obviously we got the statement earlier this evening, but I think he's going to have more to say tomorrow. And I think it probably, knock on wood, I think probably what he shares tomorrow will alleviate some people's fears. That's maybe it's hopeful or wishful thinking, but I think he is going to expound upon it as much as he can tomorrow. We'll get him after practice. So we're allowed in at 9:45?
9:45, cameras and shoot video and still photos till 10. I would think that after that we would go outside, I don't know what, 10:30, quarter to 11, probably going to go an hour and a half. We got Coach Kelly at 11:15. We'll do our practice report after Brian Kelly because it just makes sense. He'll give us all the updates. John Embry, number 4, is he going to be out there? He's still on the roster. Most people thinking it'll be a thumbs up. And of course, as we know, it will be interesting with the new injury policy. We hadn't really mentioned this yet, but they will put that out this week. And Coach Kelly is going to have a pretty similar protocol with injuries and the discussion of injuries like you have in the NFL. So we'll give you all those parameters tomorrow after his press conference.
John Sibley Butler, big thanks for that super chat, big time, absolutely. Michael Roby with a super chat. Thank you as well. When is the LSU baseball press conference for the upcoming season? Can you ask about renovations for the box? Good show. Thank you. I think probably the next time we have an actual press conference with Jay Johnson will be, I'm assuming, late September, early October for fall ball. When would that start? Fall ball.
I don't know, but quite frankly, look, all I can tell you is that Coach Johnson is just a tireless worker. And I think Mike had a really good fit. A good friend of his posted a tweet after Jay Johnson was hired and said, LSU didn't hit a home run. They hit a single. I think he's eaten steak with Mike before. But anyway.
I think he wrote Bertman's book.
Yeah. That being said, sorry, man, we've got football on the brain right now. Jay, when the next time we talk to Jay, he's going to continue to be smiling.
Yeah. Look, I'm sure they're going to be doing some stuff. Look, no one's ever going to accuse Scott Woodward of being a miser with money.
Yeah.
He can spend it. Scooby 70611, thank you big time for that super chat. He says, this is my effort to get Carl Dunn inside the top 5. Now that's
Scooby.
top 5.
Scooby Doo. Holy cow. Look, let's go ahead and say it ahead of time. Carl re-upped with his NIL sponsor this year. All of the calls from Carl will be sponsored by Coca-Cola once again this football season. Coming to Olympia Stadium and others this year.
I see Carl 2 or 3 times a season, it seems like.
Hey, we love you, Carl. You're a hell of a fan.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Chance Babin, fall ball is the first week of October, I think. So I was about right. Late September, early October. And, Jay's also great with us. I mean, he typically, I bet if I went and looked at the average length of his press conference, they're probably about 23 to 30 minutes, 30 minutes. He goes a long time. And if you hear any mumbling and you can't understand the question, who might that be, buddy?
That would be Michael Cabo with Channel 2.
All right, guys, let me scroll up.
Scott Reveille in football, too, is sometimes a little lower.
Oh, yeah? They're all low talkers?
Well, the good thing about football is that they do give the media an individual mic. I play a lot of this stuff, which Mike, of course, posts on his site. I play that on my show. And it's so irritating when you hear the coach, but you can't really hear the questions. So hopefully questions and microphones will be heard tomorrow with the stuff we have on TigerBait.
All right, guys, Alumni Hall. And by the way, before I do my on-air read, tomorrow's a big morning. The LSU Nikes come out tomorrow, and they look fantastic. Alumni Hall, you might want to get there early. I think they've got a limited number of pairs, so go over there and get them. But Tiger fans, you want to show your LSU Tiger pride? Alumni Hall is your ultimate shopping experience. The best and largest selection of apparel for the whole family. Nike, Nike Golf, Champion, Columbia, Peter Millar, Southern Tide, hats, Yeti, gifts, and accessories. LSU students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in-store every day, and you can earn cash back with their Hall Pass rewards. Alumni Hall, located in Perkins Row, or anytime at alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where Tiger fans shop. And, if you're a fan of those Nikes, the LSU Nikes that they put out annually, tomorrow is the version that comes out for this year is probably the best looking shoes they've ever put out. And they're majority of a white shoe. The last 2 years, they didn't sell very well because they were mostly purple. But Alumni Hall's got a big batch, and you're going to want to get over there to Perkins Row and get yours.
National Championship baseball stuff. They got plenty of stuff. Of course, as we know, great sponsors here on the show. And I say it every week. Give yourself 15, 20, 30 minutes when you go in there. It's not a quickie stop. Enjoy what they do. And Rachel and the others continue to do great things over there, Mike.
Yeah, it's a beautiful shop. They've got everything. And I'm constantly looking for what their new products are. I'm telling you, they're loading at least a dozen new products a day right now. All the new polos are in, everything that you're going to want. If you're heading to Orlando and you want nice gear to wear in the stadium, they've got all the newest stuff over there. Go check them out. Jevin Johnson, love this. Love this show. You guys are great. Thank you for the nice comment, Devin. Very, very much appreciative of that. Let's see. Let me scroll down. Guys, you get your comments in, and I will get them in before we head out this evening.
Hey, real quick tidbits where Mike gets ready to tell you that Jaden Daniels up to 210, now officially listed at 6'4", 210. Nussmeyer at 205. Ricky Collins at 200. Remember all those years we talked about Brandon Harris, can you get to 200? Miles Brennan, can you get to 200? Man, I'm excited to see these new refined bodies. And look, we've seen it. Nuss one freak of the week, in week 2. Jaden Daniels appreciably bigger up here. And Ricky Collins, as you alluded to, you knew he was going to get up there. Oh, by the way, I know this is not Mike saying this. This is me. But it's all Lane Kiffin on the SEC Network and some of the stuff they've been talking about. Walker Howard looks like he finally put that weight on that he wanted to. Had some issues over here where he couldn't get as big and as strong. And it's going to be fun to see how that three-headed monster at Ole Miss plays out. But they're loaded over there. And as we know, it will be asked tomorrow, how do you keep both Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier happy and give Jaden Daniels all the big reps, but still get Nussmeier enough quality reps to where if there's a ding and an injury or for next year, he is ready to go next year. He's still not started a game at LSU.
I think Walker can pass Dart on that roster, but the kid from Oklahoma State is gonna be the starter. But we'll see.
And of course, Ole Miss has still got to learn how to play defense. That is week 5, September 30th at Ole Miss.
But I want to see it Ole Miss as them beat Texas A&M. I want to see Ole Miss finish 3rd in the West.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine the meltdown in College Station if they finish 4th? I mean, what are the expectations there? I mean, people have had enough of Jimbo. And this Bobby Petrino thing, if that doesn't work out, where's he left to go?
Yeah. Well, the over and under wins for A&M is 7.5, and most people are picking over on that. But LSU owes them a little bit from last year. But it'll be interesting to see. Connor Wegman, of course, is there probably going to be their starter at A&M. Max Johnson solidly in the number 2 spot right now.
Raymond, hey guys, great show. I wanted your opinion on Jaden Daniels' Heisman hype. Do you think he has a legit chance? Personally, I am skeptical. Look, he's a top returning quarterback. He's finally going to have the same offensive coordinator for 2 years in a row that he's never had. And he's on a team that's in the top 10. You put him in there. I think you do.
The thing I always talk about is like after week 1 or week 2, they start talking about the Heisman Trophy favorites. I think it's a little absurd, but it's what we do. We love to read the magazines. I think the polls will be coming out in another week. But look, Jaden Daniels is going to make some Heisman highlight type of plays, as we saw in the Alabama game. Question is, how much does he need to run this year? Folks, in case you don't realize it, 29 total touchdowns, 17 passing, only 3 INT, 11 rushing, and he caught a touchdown from Malik Neighbors in the bowl game. But, Mike, how much offense is he going to accrue for? Personally, last year, 2nd most yardage ever. He's not going to ever. Nobody will ever have.
He doesn't need to, and you don't want him to. I mean,
but
you got 8 running backs.
LSU's going to be a big name. That's going to be top 5, top 10 all year long. So let's see how it plays out. I think Jaden and BK would tell you this: we worry about team goals first. Let the individual stuff fall into place.
I think this LSU offense can do anything they want.
Yeah.
You've got the arguably the best wide receiving core in the country. You've got 8 running backs. Yeah, there might not be a Leonard Fournette at the top, but there's some salty guys in there. Offensive line, a lot of people think it's the number 1 unit in the SEC, and you've got a guy who we're talking about, is he a Heisman Trophy candidate or not? And behind him is a guy who can sling it. And you've got a nice solid group of tight ends that we were talking about earlier. Markway, all going on with Taylor, Plimpton. There you go. I mean, I think this offense can do all sorts of unique things. And I'm excited to see what can Denbrock dial up with the talent he's got to work with right now.
Well, and a lot of people think LSU is going to run it a little bit more. And, you know, this is one thing that we'll ask Brian Kelly as we get into fall camp. At what point do you realize from a strategic standpoint, the new change where the clock doesn't stop after a first down, except 2 minutes before the half and 2 minutes at the end of the game? Everybody's opining that it's going to cost you 8 to 10 plays on offense. Do you want to shorten the game? Do you want to lengthen it? It depends on obviously the score and the momentum of the game. I don't like it simply because baseball needed to change to get faster. I didn't think college football.
I like what they did in baseball.
I am too, but I don't think they needed to do this rule. And we'll see. Brian Kelly, by the way, always on the cutting edge, running clock, a lot of the spring game to get acclimated to this rule. But you may see LSU and teams not have 8 or 10 plays as many a game because of this new rule. And once again, if you're lining up with those big uglies and you're 3rd and 1 and you're picking them up, there's a lot of ways you can fry fish on offense.
Guys, big day tomorrow. Like we said, we're going to have a practice report, Buddy and I on camera. Again, as has been Brian Kelly's policy, no practice reports or anything that can be posted until practice is over. So, and we're going to wait to film. A lot of times we'll film our practice report together after we get booted out, and then I'll hold it. But we're going to wait to do it after we hear from Brian Kelly, because he's going to have a lot to fill in the blanks, and then we'll be able to opine about what Brian Kelly said, and we'll have a lot to share certainly in the first report brought to you by the Smoky Investment Team. So we'll have that here on our YouTube channel. So that's why you want to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. So we'll have our practice reports here. We're going to have probably 10 to 15 minutes of excellent highlights from practice that we'll have posted on TigerBait. You're going to want to subscribe for that $1 to be a part of that. And we're going to have a newsletter, have more recruiting coming out tomorrow. I've got some updates. Like I said earlier, I've got to get out that the kind of backlog from the Bayou Splash, some guys that we have reached earlier in the week. So we got a lot coming your way on TigerBait. We're going to be sending out newsletters. So we're going to be wall to wall now through August, and going to be trying to get out to some high schools and more. So see you guys on the other side. Hit that like button on your way out, subscribe, notification bell. And thank you all for the super chats tonight and being a part of the show. Good night.